In a quiet mansion hidden behind tall gates, a powerful billionaire decided to put his trust to the test. For years, his loyal maid had taken care of everything in his home, and often, her young daughter would tag along, filling the house with laughter and innocence. But deep down, he wondered, was their kindness truly genuine, or was it only because of his wealth and influence? To find out, he came up with a plan unlike any other. One evening, instead of leaving for his usual business trip, he pretended to fall asleep in the grand living room chair, determined to secretly watch what the maid's child would do when she thought no one was looking. The soft glow of the chandelier lit the room as the little girl quietly entered, her steps cautious, yet curious. She looked at the billionaire, still and unmoving, her tiny hands clutching something close to her chest. What she did next would reveal far more than he ever imagined, something that had nothing to do with money, but everything to do with heart. As he stayed perfectly still, fighting the urge to react, he realized he might not be ready for the truth about this child. What unfolded in that moment left him frozen in disbelief, and changed everything. The billionaire had never been the type to show much emotion. To the world, he was a man of power, wealth, and sharp decisions. But beneath all that, he carried years of loneliness. His mansion, though filled with priceless art and endless luxuries, often echoed with silence. The maid and her little girl were the only ones who brought warmth into those walls. Still, questions lingered in his mind. Was the maid truly loyal, or was she staying because of the paycheck? And what about the child? Did she see him as just another rich man, or as someone she could trust? As he kept his eyes closed, he remembered the first day the maid arrived. She had spoken humbly, promising to work hard, not asking for more than the chance to provide for her daughter. Over the years, the girl had grown up under his roof, running through the halls with laughter, sometimes even leaving little drawings tucked onto his desk. He often acted like he never noticed, but secretly he kept those drawings hidden away now. As the child stood before him in the quiet room, clutching something he couldn't yet see, he wondered if this moment would finally expose the truth. What she chose to do next would either confirm his doubts or shatter them completely. The little girl shifted her weight nervously, her eyes darting toward the silent figure of the billionaire. He looked so still, so unreachable, that for a moment she seemed to hesitate. Then, almost carefully, she placed the object she had been holding onto the table beside him. It was a folded piece of paper, its edges worn as if she had held it many times before. Her small fingers lingered there, tracing the paper as though it carried more weight than it appeared. The billionaire's heart thudded in his chest. Though he dared not move, he wanted to know what secret she had left, but he forced himself to stay still, watching through the corner of his half-closed eyes. This wasn't just about curiosity anymore. It felt bigger, like the moment was testing his own beliefs about people, loyalty, and trust. In another part of the house, the maid was finishing her nightly tasks, unaware that her daughter was standing at the center of an invisible test. She had worked tirelessly for years, guarding her dignity, shielding her daughter from the harsher truths of the world, yet even she had no idea that the man she worked for was silently questioning everything about their bond. The girl whispered something softly, words the billionaire couldn't quite catch. He leaned the slightest bit closer, straining to hear. Whatever she said, it wasn't meant for him. It was something deeply personal, something that made him wonder if the walls of his mansion were about to hold a truth he wasn't prepared to face. The billionaire's breathing grew slower, heavier, as he fought to keep his disguise intact. Every second stretched like an hour, and the silence of the room made the smallest sounds sharper: the tick of the clock, the rustle of the girl's dress, the faint creak of the wooden floor. She unfolded the paper slowly, her tiny hands trembling, as if revealing a treasure. From where he sat, eyes barely open, he could only make out colorful lines and shapes. But he knew it was one of her drawings. She placed it gently on his lap, her face soft with an expression he couldn't quite read. Was it pity, care, or something else? She leaned closer, her whisper clearer this time. "One day I'll make you smile, even if you never notice me." Her words struck like a hidden arrow, cutting through the layers of doubt he had carried for years. Just then, the maid's voice echoed faintly from down the hall, calling for her daughter. The girl froze, torn between running back and staying near the sleeping figure she clearly trusted more than he realized. The billionaire felt his chest tighten as he realized the choice she would make in that moment could change everything. The suspense of her decision hung in the air, and he knew that the truth he had been seeking was only seconds away. The girl hesitated, her small hand resting on the billionaire's arm, as though she wanted to wake him, but something inside her held back. Instead, she slipped another folded piece of paper from her pocket, different from the drawing she had already placed on his lap. She looked around nervously, glancing toward the hallway where her mother's voice had just echoed, then carefully tucked this second note beneath the cushion of his chair, almost as if she didn't want anyone else to see it. The billionaire's mind raced. Why would she hide something from her own mother but leave it for him to find? His curiosity burned, but he forced himself to remain motionless, his heart pounding so loudly he feared she might hear it. The stakes of his little test suddenly felt much higher than he had ever intended. This wasn't just about loyalty or honesty anymore, it was about a secret she carried, one that might reveal more about the maid's struggles than he had ever imagined. Just as the girl turned to leave, the sound of hurried footsteps filled the hallway. The maid appeared at the doorway, her eyes wide with concern. She froze when she saw her daughter near the sleeping billionaire, holding back words she clearly wanted to speak. The tension in the air thickened, something unspoken passed between them, and it was clear the truth was about to unravel in a way he never expected. The maid rushed into the room, her voice trembling as she called her daughter's name. The little girl quickly stepped back from the billionaire's chair, her eyes wide as if she had been caught doing something forbidden. The billionaire, unable to keep up the act any longer, slowly opened his eyes. The maid gasped, realizing he had been awake all along. For a moment, silence filled the room, broken only by the ticking clock. He looked down at his lap and saw the colorful drawing, a picture of the three of them standing together, him, the maid, and the little girl smiling like a family. His chest tightened, the weight of her innocent wish striking deeper than he ever thought possible. Then, almost hesitantly, he reached beneath the cushion and pulled out the second note. His eyes scanned the simple handwriting. Asterisk, please take care of my mama if anything happens to me. Asterisk, the words left him frozen, not because of the child's innocence, but because of what they revealed. He turned to the maid, whose face was pale, her secret exposed. She had been hiding an illness, working harder than ever to provide for her daughter, never wanting to burden anyone with the truth. The billionaire finally understood. This test had revealed not greed or dishonesty, but a depth of loyalty and love he had underestimated. And just as he thought he had uncovered everything, the little girl tugged his sleeve and whispered, "Now it's your turn to choose." The billionaire sat in silence, the little girl's words echoing louder than anything he had heard in years. For so long he had believed loyalty could only be measured by tests, by watching how people acted when they thought no one was looking. But in that moment, he realized the truth had been right in front of him all along, in a child's drawing, in a hidden note, and in the quiet sacrifices of a mother who asked for nothing but the chance to give her daughter a better life. He looked at the maid, who struggled to hold back tears, ashamed that her secret had been revealed this way. Yet instead of anger or disappointment, he felt something different, an unexpected sense of responsibility. For the first time in years, he spoke with warmth, telling her she would no longer carry her burdens alone. Her daughter, clutching his hand tightly, smiled as if her silent wish had finally been heard. From that night forward, the mansion no longer felt like an empty fortress. It became a home filled with laughter, drawings pinned to walls, and conversations that reached deeper than business deals or wealth. The billionaire's test had ended, but what it uncovered was far greater: the priceless value of trust, family, and love, the kind of riches money could never buy.